Hello, my name is Carlos Alberto Sanchez and this is my final exam. This is my recipe, chicken burritos with cheese and black bean sauces. Ingredients: corn tortilla, ground meat and cooked, green onion, tomatoes, lettuce, salted eggs, cooked beans and ground, a few peppers, utensils, a net, wood spoon, chopping board, grill, fry pan, spoon, fork, and pot. Let's cook. Step 1. The first step is light the stove inside the pot, the grind meat, cook it. Chop the green onion with the tomatoes and add them inside the fry pan with some butter and salt taste. If you like the peppers, you can add it some. It's very important you salt to cook the chicken very well. Ladle inside to fry pan the mixed tomatoes and green onion and butter. Try to taste, stir carefully. When you got to cook the black beans, cross them and pour inside the fry pan, simmering during 10 minutes and some butter. On the grill, put the corn tortilla, boil it by both parts, to round when it will be necessary. Clean the lettuce, scramble the ground cooked meat with the mixed onion and tomatoes. Chop this the lettuce, pour it on the corn tortilla with the crushed black beans at the ground rear, and mixed green onion and the tomatoes and cheese. Wrap up all the ingredients and saute them on the fry pan during 10 minutes each corn tortilla. News Colombian reports. West Colombia oppressing. Bogotá seeks to choke out demands while violence in Buenaventura escalates. While Colombia's western province of Chocó agreed to end 11 days of anti-government protests, violence in the neighboring Buenaventura is escalating. Both Chocó and Buenaventura, Colombia's largest port city, had embarked on massive anti-government marches for a week and have to demand an end to chronic state neglect and abandonment, corruption, crime, and armed conflict. Following marathon talks with the grassroots civil committee for the rescue and dignity of Chocó, and relentless protests by tens of thousands, the administration of President Juan Manuel Santos said it, according to the grassroots committee that reached the agreement with the national government, its members met with the people to explain the made concessions and vowed to the end province shutdown on Sunday. Buenaventura calling. In Buenaventura, however, the government's inability to appraise the locals of attend their call to end rampant state neglect, abandonment, and corruption, and then blocking the country's largest port spurred an escalation of violence. The inhabitants of the city are furious the port delivered an annual $2 billion to the national treasury, while they had gone from one humanitarian crisis to another. After the port was privatized in 1990, it fell in the hands of the Spanish multinationals, and a number of families closed on the President Cesar Gaviria Liberal Party. Consequently, enough of the money made within the wallet poured got into the city treasury, leaving almost half of Buenaventura without people work with the potable water, no functional hospital, and a state-controlled public security. According to both the local bishops and human rights groups, public order in Buenaventura has instead been imposed by drug trafficking groups who use the port to export of cocaine. After talks between Buenaventura Civic Committee and the government broke down, citizens massively blocked the port, effectively closing the 55 million per day that to Bogota and shutting down drug trafficking from the port. Who will be Colombia's next president according to the first predictions? A year before the first round of Colombian president election, Numerous politicians had indicated that want to succeed President Juan Manuel Santos. The first poll showed the race is still wide open. Over the past week, two polls were released, but claiming that former Vice President Germán Vargas, a Bogotá dynasty politician, has the best chances, even without having announced his candidacy. However, amid growing resentment against the Bogotá elite, Marxist candidate Gustavo Petro is right begin, while moderate politicians have trouble finding support in Colombia's polarized society. The main factor of uncertainty in predicting the election outcome is the fact that performing President Álvaro Uribe has yet to endorse the replacement of this preferred candidate, Oscar Iván Zuluaga, who was forced to withdraw over criminal charges of election fraud. While investment did measure the voter intention for Uribe loyal politicians like Marta Lucía Ramírez, 6.5%, Luis Alfredo Ramos, 7.7%, and Alejandro Ordóñez, 4.9%. Cifras y conceptos only measured voter intention for Ramírez and Democratic Center Senator Iván Zuluaga, 2%. Where Uribe puts forth was the undisputed first opinion for 22%, a percentage points more than Vargas in the independent poll. This leaves the race wide open unless Vargas decided to join forces with Uribe, who he abandoned in 2009 to the resentment of the then president. However, Santos, former vice president, has gone out of his way not be associated with the peace process but in emotion by his boss, and rumor has emerged the same dynasty politician will make up with Uribe, who has done everything within his power to prevent the peace process from being successful. At the same time, a broad coalition of social organizations, political parties, and even the demobilization FARC guerrillas have said they will prefer one candidate that can trust to execute the peace agreement that includes major rural and political reforms. However, also this broad coalition is full of ambitious politicians, making it uncertain whether there will be a peace candidate for the first round of election. To make predictions even more anomalous, Colombia's ongoing peace process includes a trade commission and a transitional justice court that is going to directly affect, possibly even seek elections campaigns, especially on the side of Uribe, who is neck deep in war crime allegations together with many of his political allies. International news. Merkel. Europe can no longer rely on allies after Trump and Brexit. Mr. Merkel said she wanted friendly relationship with both countries as well as Russia, but Europe now had to fight for its own destiny. It followed the G7 failure to come to the 2015 Paris climate deal. Talks Mr. Merkel said were very difficult. President Trump has said he will make a decision in the coming week. The times in which we can't completely depend on others are on the way out. I've experienced that in the last few days. Mr. Merkel told a crowd an election rally in Munich, southern Germany. The BBC's Damien McGuinness in Berlin says the comments are as saying or growing uncertainty within in the USA. The relationship between Berlin and new French President Emmanuel Macron had to be a priority, Mr. Merkel said. Campus data safe climate accord. What was agreed in Paris? What is climate change? Earlier, the German leader had described the 6 against 1. discussion about the Paris Accord during the G7 summit in Sicily as very difficult, not to say very unsatisfactory. Mr. Trump said the world abandoned the Paris deal. The world's first comprehensive climate agreement required countries to cut carbon emissions. During his election campaign and has also expressed thoughts about climate change. Speaking in Brussels last week, Mr. Trump has told NATO members to spend more money on defense and did not rest his administration's commitment to NATO's mutual security guarantees. BBC Defense and diplomat correspondent Jonathan Marcus said the mere fact that this is even in question shows just how unique the relationship is between Mr. Trump and the organization of which his country is the leading member. Trump avoids diplomatic disaster in Brussels. What future for the Atlantic Alliance? While in Belgium, Mr. Trump reportedly described German trade practice as bad, very bad, complaining that Europe's largest economy sells so many cars to the US. The US president has described his visit to Europe as a great success for America, with big results, glowing pop and magic orb, all moments from Trump's first trip. Melania in black at the Vatican. Why? Passion America BBC Damien Marconi in Berlin. It might have been thanks to the beer, pretzels and Bavarian brass brands, elevating the crown. But Mr. Merkel's words were uncharacteristic, passionately and unusually forthright. By all means, keep friendly relationships with Trump's America and British Britain was the message, but we can't rely on them. Rapturous of pleasure greeted her fiery calls for Ukrainians to fight for their own destiny.